What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets, Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and we continue to strive towards training camp. We are only about a week away before the Jets of 2025 report and ultimately start on the practice field. I think it's like a week and 1 day until they are legitimately reporting for training camp, and Jets Latest will be the spot. Position battles, what's going on, what the guys are saying, who's looking good, any kind of tweaks or injuries, and I will be here giving it to you. But until then, one of the things we have been doing, and you've heard me a lot on Jets Latest reference PFF. Okay, and that PFF is one of the standard bearers in terms of ratings, in terms of some data out there. And really, I told you, remember when they rated Sauce Gardner as the #1 cornerback in the NFL? Well, there's another unit for the Jets that got a top 10 rating, and it is the offensive line. We have been talking about the offensive line a lot here on Jets Latest. Not only how I think they are good, not only how they are anchored with the interior offensive line, but that they are all young and going to be able to grow together in what I think is going to be a much better run game for the 2025 green and white, up from the 31st ranked rushing total in the NFL last year. And PFF, quite frankly, agrees. Check out, as they rank the top 10 offensive lines in the NFL, the Jets were among them, and they said that there's a universe where the Jets go even higher up on the list. Check it out. They go, the Jets have a chance to end up much higher on this list as the season goes on if their young offensive tackle duel plays up to their potential. The team is turning the page from veteran tackles Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses to first rounders Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu, and one of the league's top interior offensive lines will anchor the group. Guards John Simpson and AVT both ranked among the top 12 graded guards in the football last season, and second-year center Joe Tippmann placed 8th among centers. Remember, I've been talking about this a lot, okay? They ranked the Jets as the 9th best offensive line, but a ton of these strong offensive lines are also playoff teams. I mean, at one with the Eagles, Super Bowl champion, the Broncos, the Bills, all playoff teams, Tampa Bay, a playoff team, Minnesota, the Chargers, playoff teams, okay? In fact, 6 of the top 10 offensive lines were playoff teams from last year, and then another 3 of the top 10 were kind of revamped offensive lines with at least 2 new starters on the offensive line, and that's the case for the Jets as well. So we've made this point clear. A strong offensive line certainly raises the floor of how good or bad a team can be, and I really believe the Jets will have a top 10, if not better, offensive line. We'll see what Fashanu does in year 2. A lot of signs point to him being improved. Remember, he was good at the end of last year, and Membu looks like a stud right out of the gate at right tackle, and this is going to be huge for the run game. It's going to be huge for Justin Fields as well, to be protected, have a little bit of time to stand and deliver. Speaking of offensive line, one of the top offensive lines on this list, coming in at number 6, were the Tampa Bay Bucs. Part of the reason the Tampa Bay Bucs have a good offensive line is one of their tackles named Tristan Wirfs, okay? He is a all-pro offensive tackle. However, the Jets play Tampa in week 3, part of that tough start I have been telling you about for the Jets schedule. One of what I think is the toughest games on the schedule for the Jets at Tampa in week 3. When I did my schedule breakdown, I cited them at Cincy and at Baltimore, the toughest non-divisional games on the entire schedule. But things may be lightening up because there is news out there. Bucs all-pro left tackle Tristan Wirfs went arthroscopic surgery on his knee, and he's likely to open the regular season on the PUP list and miss time to start the season. That as per Adam Schefter, probably missing the week 3 matchup against the Jets. That makes this a little bit easier for our defense, specifically Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald, to get pressure on Baker Mayfield. One of the key parts of the Bucs is their offensive line. One of the best linemen on the Bucs is clearly Wirfs as an all-pro. So this is a little bit beneficial, but it doesn't stop there. Big-time Bucs wide receiver Chris Godwin also still rehabbing from ankle surgery. Listen to what Todd Bowles, former Jets coach and now the head coach down in Tampa, had to say. He goes, he's working hard. He's coming around. We'll see more when we get to training camp. We're hopeful of week one, but nothing has really changed. If anybody can come back and play, it's going to be Chris. Now, Chris Godwin may be there for week one, may be there for week three against the Jets, but I thought it was interesting to note that while you already had Mike Evans, while you already had Chris Godwin, while you also had a rookie in Jalen McMillan, who was pretty good for them towards the end of last year, what did Tampa do with their number one first round pick at number 19 overall? They drafted another wide receiver, Emeka Ibuka, out of Ohio State. And that, I think, could be a little bit of insurance in case they want to be, cautious with Chris Godwin. So it looks like Wirfs is going to be out for week three against the Jets. Godwin may not be back yet either. That is a name to watch as Tampa and teams across the league decide if they're going to put people on the PUP list and miss the first few weeks of the season. But I think it is interesting that one of what I thought was the harder games on the schedule at Tampa week 3, they could be down an all-pro offensive lineman and a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. So we shall see. And I told you when I did the win-loss, and all that stuff, that's why I hate this, because you never know what kind of injuries are going to happen. And again, you still never know what kind of injuries are going to happen in training camp in the first couple of weeks of the season. But the fact that Tampa could be down 2 of their guys is interesting for week 3. We were down one of our best corners last year, Michael Carter. He played in 13 games, but had some nagging ankle injuries. Also, I believe had like a herniated disc. He talked recently about how hard that was for him battling injuries last year. But the good news is he is fully cleared and ready to go for training camp in about a week. Listen to what Michael Carter had to say. He goes, "It was super tough, more mentally than physically. Everything physically was going on, but mentally, I was just trying to make sure I was kind of staying in it, staying enthused, not being down, and trying to prepare the best I could so I could help my teammates and at least try to make an effort to make it through a game and be out there for those guys because I wanted it so bad." It was one of those things that it didn't work out, but I'm in a lot better place now. Like I said, he had an ankle injury, a herniated disc. He played in only 32% of the snaps. That was the lowest of his career. He is, however, fully cleared and ready to go for training camp. I've been talking about this Jets secondary, right? Sauce on one side, Brandon Stevens, A.Z. Thomas, tall, lanky guys, the press man coverage. But Michael Carter, and we said this on a previous episode of Jets Latest, was good as a slot nickel corner. Aaron Glenn even talked about it in terms of him being able to do some in the paint responsibilities, playing as a linebacker, moving in, knowing all the coverages, being able to support the run, and the data supports it also. Back to PFF, right? He had a PFF coverage grade of 77.6. That is top 10 among slot corners in the league. He had a passer rating allowed of only 74.3, well above league average, okay? In 2023, remember, he was banged up a lot in 24, but back in 2023, 11.1 slot coverage snaps per reception. That is the best in the NFL. Only 0.74 yards per coverage snap. Remember, Sauce was 0.66 as the best in the NFL. Michael Carter at 0.74, not far behind. So it's good to see that Michael Carter will be healthy. It's good to see that everybody looks like they're going to be healthy. Jermaine Johnson, for example, looks like he is going to be healthy for the start of training camp. By contrast, some of these other teams, like we mentioned with Tampa, are going to be dealing with some guys that are down and maybe candidates for the PUP list. All right, so that'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Remember, watch these videos, like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend, because this is going to be an exciting season. We will be here for it on Jets Latest. But as usual, I want to give you guys some of your comments because, listen, I'm really proud of the growth of this channel. We've got over 1,800 subscribers in just a couple of months, and a lot of you guys seem in the comments to say that you like what we are doing here. You like the community we are building. You like the insights that I am giving you, and I truly do appreciate it. So listen to what some people had to say. Neil Sanchez, 2789, goes, "We appreciate you and the insights you share with us. Never a boring show. I can see you on SNY just to set it off. Keep it up. He's going through a rough time in my life right now, and you are a pleasant distraction. Bendiciones." That really means a lot. That's why I wanted to share it. Thank you. I was on SNY for a little while, by the way, guys. I was on Geico Sports Night a few times. I did Loudmouths a few times back in the day, so I appreciate what Neil has to say, and it sounds like if you're going through something, man, we're here with you. I really appreciate you saying the kind words, and I'm really glad that I can be just a small piece to bring you joy in your day. We got Bay Dynasties that says, "Can't wait to see the QB3 and kicker battles in the preseason." Remember, I talked about the QB3 battle with Adrian Martinez and Brady Cook. I think that's going to be interesting. I think they may carry both of them, one as a QB3 and one on the practice squad, right? We talked about the kickers as well, the thicker kicker and the guy Davis out of Ole Miss. I think it just speaks to, again, bringing in youth, bringing in that competitive spirit. And when it comes to training camp, we're going to be monitoring every position, right? To see who winds up kicking field goals for us and who winds up being the emergency quarterback for us. Remember, Tyrod Taylor is the backup, but is the only player on the roster over 30 years old. I think Martinez, who was the UFL MVP, played some games with us in the preseason in the past, and of course Brady Cook have a good skill set that kind of fit what Fields does, so they can still run the same playbook as Fields. I think that's smart. I think a lot of the things this brain trust has done has been smart. And then also Furniture Guy 6125 writes in the comments, game opener, let's tailgate. And it is going to be a madhouse at MetLife for the season opener against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if I'm going to be in the building, but let me tell you something, Furniture Guy. If I am, hit me up. I definitely want to go to your guys' tailgates. And hit me up, guys. Hit me up on social media, at Spittin' Speeds on Twitter or X. Hit me up in the comments. I love engaging with you guys. I'm excited to bring some of your comments onto the show. All right? So please, feel free to talk to me. Engage with me. I love talking about the green and white, but quite frankly, I love talking about sports. As you guys know by now, I am also the host of the FTN Fantasy Show over on SiriusXM. We're getting to be that time where you may be starting to think about your fantasy football drafts. FTN Fantasy, a great website. You may have heard of Jeff Ratcliffe. We got his content and rankings out there. We do a lot of different projections, a lot of different articles for all sports, okay? And also, it's not just fantasy, it's sports betting as well. We have a lot of great tools, a lot of great simulations, the prop shop, all sorts of great stuff. You should really check that out over at FTN Fantasy. And also, you can catch me on Sports Grid TV. I'm the host of a show called In Game Live, where what we do is at night, we go around the entire sports landscape and try to find live betting opportunities for you to win a little bit of cash. If you see something, say something. Live betting is all the rage. You can catch me on Sports Grid doing that as well. But if you just want the green and white, Jets Latest will be here. Thank you to everybody who has been part of the growth of this channel. Tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. Continue to hit me up in the comments. And as we get to football season, if you are in the New York, New Jersey area, let me know. All right? I'm down to go to your tailgate. I'm down to watch that game at the bar with you. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff during the season. Live reactions, maybe at the tailgates, and so much more as we continue to grow this channel. And thank you to everybody who has been a part of it. All right? We will continue talking about the Jets tomorrow, but for now, we out of here. Another episode of Jets Latest in the books. Peace.